Who left Double or Nothing as the AEW World Champion, and a major heel turn closed out the show. But first, we must pay tribute to a wrestling legend who has sadly passed away. Yesterday, news broke that Brian Dixon, the founder of All Star Wrestling, a prominent wrestling promotion in the United Kingdom, is no longer with us. In October 1970, Dixon would start All Star Wrestling, which is still going to this day, having ran it for the vast majority of its lifespan, this before handing the reins to family member Joseph Allmark in 2022. Over the years, his tours have featured international names such as Bryan Danielson, Sami Zayn, then El Generico, and Bret Hart, just to name a few, with him having also worked with top UK homegrown names throughout the past several decades, including Giant Haystacks, the British Bulldog, and William Regal. Regal would pay tribute to Bryan on Twitter after the news broke, reflecting on the impact that he had on his own career, and said, "I'm very sad to hear of the passing of British promoter Brian Dixon. Without Brian, from November 1986, saying, 'I'll put you against someone better than you every night,' and many other things he taught and helped me with, I wouldn't have had this charmed life. Rest well, old rogue." Former WWE superstar Tyler Breeze is set to make his much-anticipated wrestling return under a new moniker. Now billed as simply Breeze, he's scheduled to step inside the ring at Prestige Wrestling's Roseland 6 event on September 1st in Portland, Oregon. The 35-year-old last competed back in the summer of 2021 during his tenure with NXT, where he formed a successful partnership with Fandango. Since his WWE release that same summer, Prince Pretty has been active in the wrestling industry, co-running the renowned Flatbacks Wrestling School in Florida, alongside AEW star Shawn Spears. In addition to his contributions to the wrestling school, he's also maintained a presence on WWE's Up Up Down Down YouTube channel, collaborating with Xavier Woods for the Battle of the Brands series, whilst also training students at the WWE Performance Center. Now let's find out what happened at last night's AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view, where 2 new champions were crowned. On the night, 7 championships would be on the line across 8 matches, although only 2 of those would see a title change take place. The first change would happen during the bout for the AEW Women's World Championship, which saw Jamie Hayter put her belt on the line against the Outcasts' Toni Storm. Before the match, the champion would be laid out by all 3 members of the group, putting her at a severe disadvantage, with this eventually leading to her downfall. The final sequence would see Storm kick out of a Haterade thanks to Hayter's weakened shoulder, this before a blow to the exposed turnbuckle and a Storm Zero led to a Toni victory. The win marks Toni Storm's second reign with the belt, this after her first interim reign was made official retroactively. Heading into the match, there was much talk of Jamie Hayter's real-life injury status, with the results seemingly confirming that she'll be taking a break to recover. Perhaps she will be back in time for a rematch inside Wembley Stadium at All In, although we await to see how serious the knock is. The next title change of the night would see a brand new AEW TBS champion crowned. Jade Cargill would put her belt on the line against Taya Valkyrie, somebody that she put away in pretty quick fashion. This led to a post-match promo from smart Mark Sterling, who would declare that after reaching 60 wins and no losses throughout her AEW career, there is nobody left for Jade to beat. A returning Chris Statlander would then make her presence known, accepting an open challenge. Statlander would then counter a Jade into a tombstone pile driver, which ultimately led to a victory, ending her 9-month hiatus with a bang, winning her first ever title under the All Elite Wrestling banner. The new champ has been out of action since August 2022, having suffered from a torn ACL before undergoing surgery 1 month later. As for Jade, this brings an end to her impressive 509-day reign as TBS champion, having made 25 successful defenses on top. But what do you make of the new champions in All Elite Wrestling? Let me know in the comments down below. Another title match that took place on the show would be for the AEW Trios Championships, where a reference was made to an ongoing WWE storyline. The House of Black would issue an open challenge for a shot at their belts, this before the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn quickly accepted. As always, Max Caster would cut a rap promo on his upcoming opponents, telling Brody King that he looks like a reject from RuPaul's Drag Race, before asking how Malachi Black gets away with doing blackface. His attention would then turn to Buddy Matthews, with Caster questioning how he can act all ominous when he's getting cooked by a guy named Dominic. Of course, this is a reference to the ongoing storyline in WWE between Dominic Mysterio and Buddy's real-life girlfriend, Rhea Ripley, who are both, let's say, very close in the Judgment Day faction. Despite the burn, Matthews and co would be able to retain their belts. This when Malachi Black dropped Billy Gunn with a black mass for the 1-2-3. After much speculation on where it could be positioned on the card, the AEW World Championship match would go on second last, with MJF defending his belt against fellow pillars Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Jungle Boy. The first bit of news from the match came during Guevara's entrance, who was joined by his wife Ty Mello. Using cue cards, the couple would reveal that they are expecting a baby this 9 months after their wedding last August. As for the match itself, it was MJF that left as still champion, this after outsmarting Darby Allin to secure a pinfall victory. Just as Darby was about to hit Jungle Boy with a coffin drop, Max would slide the world title belt on top of Jack, leading to Allen's head striking the gold, ultimately knocking him out. Friedman would then take him down with a headlock takeover for the 1-2-3. This is now MJF's third successful title defense of his 6-month reign thus far, this after winning the belt in November 2022 with a win over Jon Moxley at last year's Full Gear event. Max would then scream into the camera, stating that he is the best professional wrestler in the world, before later declaring that he's starting to get bored, asking when AEW will give him some real competition. And now let's get on to the main event of the night that would see the blood feud between the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club come to a head in what was billed as anarchy in the arena. On one side you had Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, and on the other you had Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks reuniting with Hangman Page. The brawl would take place all over the arena, although the most pivotal moment of the match would happen inside the ring. As Kenny Omega was just about to drop Wheeler Yuta with a one-winged angel for an almost guaranteed victory, Don Callis would approach, which led to Omega letting go. A masked man would then wipe Kenny out with a flying knee, before revealing himself to be Konosuke Takeshita, with Wheeler then taking advantage, dropping Omega with a screwdriver for the pin. In the past, Callis has recruited Takeshita to help the Elite, although he is now stuck by his side after turning on Kenny Omega several weeks back during the steel cage match with Jon Moxley. After the show came to a close, Omega would tease that he may now have to bring in some friends from outside of AEW to even the odds, with him taking to the mic to say, "I might not be the most popular guy backstage, but there is a bigger world than AEW, and I still have at least 1 or 2 really good friends that can even up the odds. You guys stay tuned, we are not done, this is not over." The two leading candidates amongst fans to join Kenny right now are the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champions Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada, with us perhaps now one step closer to blood and guts. But which friends do you think Kenny Omega will be bringing in? Let me know in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure you check out how AEW can change wrestling forever.